the concept is the main hero. I think the concept is to show and to teach somebody ki, what would you want to, to teach somebody a lesson, I would say in a way.
I'm sitting with the two most successful stars, Sidharth Malhotra and Katrina Kaif. Tell us about your upcoming film. Katrina,
Thank you.
Why don't you start first? And tell us, how did you get this role? Where were you at that time when the offer came?
Well, Baar Baar Dekho is my second film with Excel. My first film was Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. When they approached me for the film, I think I had a lot of excitement for what it was going to be because I really like the kind of films they make. And I think Zindagi was one of my most special films. So I think it was Karan actually, though, who made the call to me, Karan Johar, because he is also the co-producer. And the narration happened in his house. And when I started hearing the narration, I kind of had a preconceived idea in my head because I'd heard a lot about the film. I think Sid was already cast in the film. I heard a little bit about it being a time travel film. So I kind of had this idea for some reason that it was going to be a period film somehow woven in. So I kept waiting. When is he going to go back? When is that part going to start? When is this going to start? When is that going to start? And before we knew it, we were at the end of the film. There was no period film, and there was no going back in time. And I was just really shocked at what a new way of telling a love story this was. And I was really moved by the message in the film. And I just thought it evoked so many emotions inside me as a girl, as a woman. And I thought it was a really special film with something really special to say.
Sidharth, you were on board before her, as she said.
Yes. I met Nitya when I was shooting for Brothers, and she came in with her script to narrate it, and I had no clue of what the story is about. So I started guessing. I think the narrative is so interesting that in the first 45 minutes or an hour, you don't know where the film is taking you. Now people have seen the trailer. So I was very intrigued by this thrilling journey that this character Jay goes on to, where he's seeing the future of his love story, where only he's aware that he's from the past, and you don't know where he's going to wake up next. So I think it was a very interesting narrative, a very entertaining narrative, and the crust of it, it's a love story. But it also gives you a nice message that how in today's day and age the youth can take certain things for granted, like we take our relationships for granted, our priorities are work, it's work oriented, mera goal ye hai, mera wo hai, and we sometimes ignore people that we love and our families. So I think it has a nice message.
So it's a very slice of life.
It's a slice of life. It's a fictitious story done in a real way. The concept is the main hero. I think the concept is to show and to teach somebody ki, what would you want to, to teach somebody a lesson, I would say in a way, but through an interesting narrative ki, what if this would have happened in your life? What would you learn from it? People.
So what exactly do you play in the film?
I play a professor. I play a very pragmatic, very antisocial, very, I would say, obsessive about his work oriented professor. And he has a childhood girlfriend, Dia. And they grow up together, they love each other, but still when the main point happens when they have to get married, he's a bit commitment phobic, and he's scared, and because he thinks that if he gets married, he doesn't know that if it's going to hamper his career, or maybe that comes in the way of that. So yeah, how he toys between his ambition and his relationship.
Katrina, you worked with Sidharth for the first time, and so did you.
Yeah.
How was it? I mean, do you all know each other before the film?
We didn't know each other before, actually. We've just met
socially.
Socially. Workshops was a good way.
Yeah.
She has an interesting story how she got lost in my eyes during a workshop. Yeah, I think that was it, and she got very distracted after that.
Yeah, and then hence is the love story of
it began.
Baar Baar Dekho.
No, but actually, in our workshop, we had to sit across each other and just stare into each other's eyes for the longest time. And
so that's how Karan set up the love story.
That's
how Karan set up.
That's how our director set up the love story. But yeah, I think that really helped us because see, when you're acting, you're still using a lot of yourself, right? So it's still you that is putting yourself out there. You have to be really open and really trusting and very comfortable, or you have to be really uninhibited, but it has to be or a mix of all of these things. So I think that allowed us to kind of just get used to each other, so that when we went onto the set, I think there was already a certain comfort level and there was a certain trust which was already formed in the workshops, which for this film I think was more important than anything. Because if we are playing, like say you have a love story where, like say in Zindagi for example, when my romantic interest in the film, we meet, and you see us meet in the film. But in this film, in Baar Baar Dekho, we're playing two people who've been in love with each other and together since they were kids, since they were 8. So there had to be, and Nitya, I think she just harped on that one point with us so much, that it had to be believable and it had to look real, because otherwise it was not gonna, you're not gonna stay invested with these characters when you start going into the future, and when Jay's character starts going into this journey, you have to be with him and you have to care about their love story.
What did you all think of Nitya as a director? She's worked as an AD on Life of Pi and Reluctant Fundamentalist.
She's worked on a lot of Excel films. I think she's fabulous. She's talented for a first-time director to pick a script like this, which is very difficult in narrative, very difficult in emotions. None of us, we are creating something which is make-believe. We don't know what the future is like, but yet we go forward in this story. We go forward taking all the characters, and within that story, we go forward having this character who's unaware of what has happened in the meanwhile. So it's very difficult to create all this in your first film and to connect all the dots. So I think she's done a fabulous job. She's a go-getter, and she knows how to lead a set, and I think she has a great future in Hindi films.
So Katrina, are you going to say that Kala Chashma is your most favorite song of the film?
No, of the film, I think maybe actually there's a song called Darya. I think that is will be the song that in the end it will stay with me for the longest. Of course, right now Kala Chashma is the most fun song. It's the funnest song.
It's very popular.
So Asman I also really like as a romantic track. But in the end, the one which will kind of stay on my playlist with me, I think would probably be Darya.
Sidharth, yours?
Well, of course, the more popular track right now is Kala Chashma, but it's very difficult to pick. I think it's a fabulous music album. It's one of my best music albums because it's got a variety of music and all from different composers, and it's come together really well. You know, be it a party anthem like Kala Chashma, or be it like I like a heartbreak song called Khair Mangdi. There's Kho Gaye Hum Kahan, there is Darya, there is Nach De, there is Saw Asman. So we pretty much complete all the moods possible, and I think it's the best driving album. Whatever mood you're in, you can just switch the next track.
Which was the most difficult scene for you two?
Most difficult scene?
Most
In the
difficult
film.
scene in the film? For me, it was I can't. It's just going to give away the end of the film, but we will not do that. But there were two very difficult scenes in the film. I can't tell you what happens in them, but I just can say that it involves a lot of anger, a lot of tears, a lot of that kind of a world. I think.
Yeah, I think we should
those
leave
are
that discussion when the
difficult
film is out, and people will
Yeah.
ask us, so people will know what we're talking about.
Yes,
Right
that's
now, we
hard to
could
say.
give you a vague idea, so there's no point. But I think one difficult moment was in Khair Mangdi, I had to be giving longing looks to her, looking up, but we were in Glasgow, -2°C in the night, next to the river, and I was getting wet in the rain. So I think I've never done that before, and by far the most difficult to keep my lips and chin from shivering, and yet just giving her longing looks, looking up into the sky. Though the longing look was coming because longing was ki please mujhe yahan se nikalo, please mujhe yahan se nikalo, but then I had to control and not shiver. So that was pretty interesting to be out in the cold and freezing.
Very tough to.
Yeah, freezing in the rain. It's a bit, and it's an emotional scene, so we can't even, and it's a close-up, so you have no other things to hide your emotions, so you can't be looking like you're feeling cold. You have to look like the emotion. But that was the longest 2 hours of my.
So looks like the
outdoor.
film is going to live up to the name Baar Baar Dekho.
Hopefully, yes.
Nervous about the box office?
Yeah, of course, always. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
you want to make a film for people to see. You don't ever want to make a film saying let's make it for an empty cinema hall. So I think the truest test of what you've made is how people respond to it, and that you're only going to come to know on Friday. So of course Thursday is gonna be a night of nail
Yeah,
biting.
that's in every
but
film, yeah. You
my
want
nails
your
are
film
already
to-
kind of short, so I have nothing left to bite.
I just cut my nails today though, so I'm pretty.
So Sid will have to just keep his hands. Means it will have to have a Thursday night of hands folded rather than nail
So
biting.
do you have a reason to feel high? You're coming after a big hit, Kapoor and Sons. So
Well, of course, but I think you're as good as your last Friday. So every Friday it's new, and you can't live off one particular Friday for the longest time. So the same anxiousness, the same excitement comes in. This is I think more so ये कहानी में एकदम जो नयापन है, it's a concept. The conflict is not something that people have seen before. So you're very anxious and eager to see what people will react like.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for being on Spotboy.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Dad.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you.